And jiu-jitsu for me is just one of say like many tools that I use to kind of just improve myself just as an individual. Some students need hugs, some students need to be shouted at, but it's true, that it's exactly the same as parenting. And on the way back from the club is when I stopped at A&E. 4 o'clock in the morning. I stopped at A&E. But I just thought there is no way I'm going to let this thing stop me.
Yeah. Jude, are you a DJ as well?
I used to, and I don't want to just brag, but actually it is the best jiu-jitsu academy on the globe. And giving away the playbook here, shouldn't. But coaches, you guys need to approach, look at jiu-jitsu in a different way.
You are now listening to Herbian's podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Hi, Jude. So lovely to have you. So thank you so much for coming to my podcast. Most of the people know you as the 4th degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt professor. But can you share with our listeners a bit more about you, who you are, and what you are currently doing?
Right. Oh, gosh. From a jiu-jitsu, world, it's what do you call it? A lot of people know me for jiu-jitsu, but I think I'd like to think that my life and my circles is more than jiu-jitsu. It's because I just think it's very important to have. It's very important to have like other interests that actually expand the sport sort of stuff that you do. And jiu-jitsu is, for me, is just one of say like many tools that I use to kind of just improve myself just as an individual. Because I think that's I think that's what we all try to do.
Yeah, indeed. So for me, I know you as a jiu-jitsu coach. That's how I know you. I come to your gym, I come to your trainings. If you're not a jiu-jitsu professor, what other alternative career will you pursue? Because you also talked about jiu-jitsu is only one part of life. So what will other part be?
So my background is I've always done martial arts since 16, 17, but also is what I studied in schools, history as well. And then actually my career path led me on to being a graphic designer. And then from, just the fast forward a little bit, then came creative director, etc. And worked on some, really, really interesting campaigns, met some really, really interesting, cool people. And I learned a lot. And I think part of my journey has been the journey of constant growth and constant, trying to learn something, like being a student always. And I think that's the important part of anybody's growth, you kind of have to take your kind of ego out of studying things. And the same as jiu-jitsu, you've got to put yourself in the white belt scenario the whole time. So you have to continue to strive for those bits of pain. If you're, we're used to a better term, you have to, those bits of uncomfortable moments are really, for me, it's to, now I'm like a lot older, they're way more meaningful, now than they ever was before. So learning new stuff, learning new techniques, finding out about new books, finding out about, different, politics, everything else, history, etc. For me, it's all the same journey. And I don't see it as anything different from jiu-jitsu to learning photography, from learning videography, from, learning new, applications, right? Learning, coding or anything else. It's the same. For me, it's the same thing. And I'm grateful, forever grateful to be able to actually hit that point in my life where I'm able to actually kind of like come to that, that conclusion. So yeah.
I love it. Constantly learning new things, and I can confidently say you are like an active explorer, learning new things.
Yeah.
And what excites you the most out of all areas?
I've worked with some really, really good creative people. And even when I was, working on events with Bama and Bellator and stuff like that, I made some really good friends, really good contacts, which I've kept in touch with. And just the last year or so, I picked up the camera again, which is really good. And, obviously, since I last had a camera in my hand, there's like technology's changed and DSLRs and blah, 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 etc. And now it's like, the technology is more accessible. And so learning new techniques and learning how to get the results that you used to get and new results is very, very good. So, I just consistently text my mates, videographers and photographers and stuff like that. And, just ask them their opinions about stuff. And currently I'm working on a few pieces with some artists and stuff and photographers, and kind of like doing some talking head stuff and getting their stories and about their journeys. And, and for me, it's from a selfish perspective, it's actually really, really good to kind of like listen to where they come from. I interviewed a guy the other day who's a curator, and it's just very funny actually. And he was talking about all the pieces that he has and also has in the club. And then he told me about, how he started off and stuff, and how he got into curating, how he got into art. And ironically, he used to run and manage a nightclub that I used to frequent when I was about 17, 18. And I went, what? Yeah. So, it's a very small world and stuff like that, to see people's journeys of where they come from and what their passions have led to and what their current passions are. It's, for me, it's very, very interesting. So it's exactly the same on the mat. It literally is exactly the same on the mat. So yeah.
Great. Absolutely love it. But for today's purpose, I really want to focus on your jiu-jitsu career and what's your thoughts and, what's your thoughts behind it, and, more about your jiu-jitsu career. So going back to jiu-jitsu, how many years for now have you been in this journey and this career? Can you share a bit more with us?
I started jiu-jitsu in 98. I used to do judo before. I did Thai boxing as well and boxing as well. So I've been doing martial arts for ages before that point. Wing Chun as well. We've all done the whole Wing Chun route. It was Chen Morais at the Budokai. He was over as Brazilian coach, and he's probably one of the first in the UK to actually have a structured jiu-jitsu class as such. And then which was a good catalyst, because I was doing judo at the Budokai, and all my friends were doing judo as well. John Donnelly, I always got to give a shout out to John, because John is the one that really, he got his black belt the other day actually, ironically enough, from Mauricio and Roger. And he was one of the ones that really, really kind of like pushed. There's people in the background, like you got, the artist who makes the music is always the one that gets the praise, but you've got the, the sound engineer in the background who literally just doesn't even get a credit, but it won't happen without a sound engineer. So for me, he's a sound engineer for the catalyst of jiu-jitsu, because he really made the connections and stuff like that with the people, and really convinced, Chen, this is what you should do and stuff like that. He convinced Mauricio to come down to London. Mauricio was going to stay up in Birmingham, but he convinced Mauricio to come down to London to say, this was the best thing to do. Because John, we used to travel to Birmingham as well to train when we first heard about Mauricio. When John goes, have you heard about this guy, Mauricio Gomes? I said, oh yeah, interesting. And he's the one who convinced him to go up. So yeah, that's the catalyst of my journey into jiu-jitsu, and the connections.
It's very nice. I was very curious to know what exactly got you into the coaching aspect of it, because everyone says, oh, it's so hard. Like, not even talking about getting into a black belt, but after black belts, you even go on to pursue a coaching career. Like, is there any particular moments which got you to I really want to get involved in coaching now?
Think I started coaching. I think I came into a part of jiu-jitsu where you had instructors that were over, and like for instance, when Mauricio would go back to Brazil, and that's before Roger was actually permanently based here, and you had like Sal would come over from Brazil, Felipe Soares would come from Brazil, but there were gaps. I'm just talking from a jiu-jitsu perspective. There were gaps where there were no instructors, so the belts, we had to kind of like run class and stuff like that. And so, I think that really kind of like fast tracked me into teaching jiu-jitsu, but I already, did martial arts from before. So I kind of had an eye for, my body mechanics were already built for doing another martial art, because picking up one and pick up another is not going to be too hard. So that was a good base for me personally. And then again, it's that hunger for learning. You have to have that hunger for learning. You have to have that thing for, doing a technique, trying out a technique, teaching a technique, a student comes up to you and goes, it's not working. And then figuring it out why it's not working and then trying to give them the answer. That's really cool. That's what gets me. That's the thing I really, really like, because you had to drop your ego and like say, oh no, this is work, doesn't matter, because that's the way it was done. It's like, yeah, but hey, there is, people have different body types. They come from different backgrounds. You know what I mean? It's male, female, you name it, is very, very different. So not one thing's going to suit all. And so rather than running away from that aspect, you actually have to kind of want that to happen.
Yeah.
And
totally
and
agree.
be comfortable with the fact that that's going to happen, and you're going to have to want that to happen. So yeah, for me, yeah, it was great, and it was great. And I think once you take that aspect on board, then everything else is just learning, getting better and improving the bits of coaching that will help you to get better, So yeah.
Yeah, I really like that fire you still have now, for the hunger for learning, and so important. Also, jiu-jitsu for life is so important, like everything, right? That's how you grow, as you mentioned earlier. And I totally agree, like coaching and like learning a skill is totally different things. You think you know how to coach, but it is a totally different thing. And I've been there, like a bit of part-time coaching other sports, so I understand what you're saying, like you thought And I did have one professor, jiu-jitsu professor in the past when I was in Hong Kong, say, oh, you think you know something, but try to say it out. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
And he made us say it out, like try to like repeat what we learn in the class. And we do have difficulty, like actually, I might not really know what I thought I know. No, kudos to you doing the coaching.
Yeah, no, it's and it's true, because I think a very big part of coaching, people do think of coaching as just teaching techniques, but it's more than that. You have to be able to public speak. You have to be able to, spot the different nuances in certain individuals. You have to be able to, galvanize a group together. You have to make the project work. You have to do so many different aspects of things, and you actually have to interject them at the correct times. If you're too jovial, then people won't get the technique. If you're not, if you're too like strict, people get put off by you as a coach. So yeah, the balance is super important, and being able to spot when it needs to happen, because sometimes, I make jokes in class, but I know when to kind of rail it in. I have to pull it back in, because then, either some people get too offended or some people get distracted by what's going on, rather than focusing on technique. And then other days I've got to be strict. Other days I've got to, it's exactly the same as parenting. It's exactly the same thing. You have to be able to have the balance and be able to spot, but being able to spot it is the key.
Exactly.
And you can't do it without actually just doing it again and failing again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And different students need different like techniques to learn, like different techniques of coaching. So you apply for it. So kudos to you doing it. So thank you for building this team, and that's why I'm here.
No, it's good. It's good. Some students need hugs. Some students need to be shouted at. But it's true.
Exactly. So, Jude, do you have a moment you want to give up jiu-jitsu? Like, if I've been there, I want to know about.
No, never. I think me starting martial arts young is a part of that. It's been so much of my life that I don't know anything else, sort of thing. I don't know how to give up, sort of thing. It's like being a lifelong smoker. How do you give up? The only thing, it's like, I've got lung cancer. Okay, I need to stop now. But it is one of those things. But I do believe that everybody has their point that they do reach of like, what am I doing this for? And I would not say that I've never hit that point. I would just say that actually it was so long ago that I can't remember. Whether I had a really good friend of mine, actually, he's a really good boxer. I wouldn't mention his name, but he was one of the guys actually that I always use this example. He's a really good amateur boxer, really successful. and he turned pro, and really good at pro. Went a really long way, and then he had it wasn't in a fight; it was a sparring for a fight, and he's a coach now, and he goes, he was sparring, and he got hit so hard that it questioned why he's doing this. And he goes, that whole pain and everything. And he just went, "Whew, is this, am I doing the right thing?" And he think, is the money thing enough? And he just said all those questions entered his head. He eventually did retire, but he said that moment was a big moment for him, because, he was on a serious run, absolute serious run. And when he told me the story with his other mate, he was a boxer as well, and his other mate carried on, and his other mate, continued, but he said the same thing happened to him earlier on as well, but he continued, and that was a kind of difference where one person just went, nah, this is too much, and the other person just continued. And you find that in jiu-jitsu as well, where some people get injuries and they take time off and they stop, or they may tap to something, or they may have a bad partner or something, or things are going on elsewhere in their lives, and then they stop jiu-jitsu. The outside things are the things that jiu-jitsu does help with, I believe, where you have your routine. It's not so much the mat, it's the environment and your routine as well. Like if you go through a divorce or split up or whatever like that, that routine is super important, because that's one of the few times that you do actually have to kind of almost be selfish and escape. As human beings now, we don't spend enough time on our own, because if we are on our own, we've got our phones, and so you're not really on your own.
Exactly.
You're not really on your own. So so it is, people do hit that point at some point, and some people carry on and some people stop. I remember when one of my worst injuries actually was ACL, and I did it in judo. Like, I've never really had bad injuries in jiu-jitsu. It's always been judo or Thai boxing or something. And judo, I came out of Budokai, and it's in serious pain. And then I went across the road to Chelsea Westminster, but it was with me at the time, and it was packed. It was so full. And then there's the nightclub in Café de Paris, and my friend was DJing there the night, and I was supposed to go there the night. And I just remember, man, it's like, oh man, this pain. And I thought, and I thought, what am I going to do? Am I going to go home and just sit and say ice and ibuprofen? And I goes, nah, no, I'm going to do. I went home, had a shower, got changed, everything, took a couple of ibuprofens, jumped into a taxi, Leicester Square, and just got absolutely, I was like partying, got drunk, everything like that. And on the way back from the club is when I stopped at A&E.
What?
4:00 in the morning. Yeah, I stopped at A&E. But I just thought, there is no way I'm going to let this thing stop me, stop me from having, like, just having a good time and stuff. And I took long time off, had operation and stuff like that. But it was, I just couldn't allow it to stop me from just continuing what I wanted to continue, and and then as I came back to the gym, I remember that's when I really started to practice half guard. Had no choice. It's just my leg wasn't set, and I had no choice. So it was just a thing. I was practicing half guard, getting up.
It changed your game as well.
Yeah, it changed my game. I'm not a big half guard player, but it did kind of put me down a rabbit hole of, okay, this is what I need to do. And I'm a firm believer, I think probably off the back of that, I'm a firm believer in deficit training. If you allow students to do everything all the time, then they just revert back to what they know. But if you say, hey, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, and you can't do this, but you can do this, then they're forced to do that only. And so they improve at that aspect of their game, So it's good. Yeah, it's good. That's why, massive believer in that.
So that's your coaching style as well. Like, like forcing, not forcing using words is strong, but, like telling students, if you only have one choice, this is, this is this.
Yeah. this is what you've
Right.
got to do. You only can knee slice. You only can X pass. You only can, you only can do certain things. You only can do certain grips.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not allowed to change your grips. So now you actually have to move your feet because you can't change your grips from the top. So now you actually have to do something totally different, So yeah, it's hard training, but it puts everybody in a position where, okay, it's tough, but I need to embrace it and I need to push forward. So
Mm.
yeah, it's good.
I can definitely see that in the class. Like now that
Yeah.
I just think about it, like, they all only just grip that, like gripping the hand, gripping the key, gripping the
Oh
love
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Jude, are you a DJ as well?
I used to, yeah. Mate, yeah. I used to. I've come
And
the
then
last few years. I've come out of retirement. I've come out of retirement. I have people just like me up. Duke, you do this. Duke, you do that. Duke, you do that. My DJ partner is getting married this year, and guess what he's asked me to do? To DJ his wedding. So yeah. So I've got to, yeah. So yeah. I love it. I love music, man.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
music. My family's all musical. Yeah, I just love music. It's it's one of my many passions. But like, I can't be in the house. I can't be anywhere that's quiet.
yeah, yeah.
Freaks me out. Freaks me out. I have to have something playing. I have to have some music
Yeah, something
on.
doing. Yeah, I totally
Yeah,
get.
yeah,
Yeah, I totally
yeah.
get you. That kind of person, like sitting there doing nothing gets me nervous. Like I need to
Oh
do
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like unless I'm really sleepy, otherwise I need to doing something. Like that sort of person. But amazing,
Yeah,
you need to
no,
do a
no.
DJ party for us.
Well, yeah, well, all the music that you love doing jiu-jitsu, half of it's mine, but yeah. But no, it is quite funny actually. You mentioned that about the music and the being. So I was in Uzbekistan in November, and one of my friends, Aaron, who's a videographer, who's working on the event as well. He went into the mountains and says like it's their winter and stuff like that, but it's just absolutely remote, nothing. And he was up when he came back, actually, not when he was up there, when he came back. I asked him how it was, and he goes, it almost like he was freaking out because like no Wi-Fi, hardly anybody there, middle of nowhere. And I said to him, did you bring a book? And he goes, no. And I goes, that's the thing. I goes, you need to bring a book, your headphones, and then but I goes to him, we are so used to having people around, noise, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and we just did an event as well, which was just like, just thousands of people to no one, goes, that's, you need to kind of like almost
That's
like,
yeah,
100 people, then 90, then 10, then 10, then you. But yeah, he was,
a
he
big
said
ship.
it was very, it was a big shift, a really, really big shift. It was like really getting in his own head. But it's true. But I think we need to do that as individuals a little bit more. We need to have,
A long time.
alone time, because we don't get enough alone time. And I mean alone time, I don't mean like you staying at home. I just mean just like you just kind of cut off for a bit, stick your headphones, whether it be music or whatever, and just go and do something. That's why, I hate running, but I understand that's why people run. I come out of my house and I just see every morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, everybody just like they're running, just the headphones, just doing that.
Like it's like you need some time to be in your own world to like like.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think I
Yeah.
totally believe it's important. I do believe like apart from that, like the reason why I did jiu-jitsu is I also think is a good time for me to be, just focus on doing one thing and not think
Yeah.
about other things. And I think it's very helpful. And
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. You also answered one of my questions that I want to ask you next. Was that hardest lesson you learned on your journey, on your way, on your path to a black belt? And I think maybe one of your ACL injury was one that
Yeah.
gets you like have a shift in mindset and stuff. But was there another hardest lesson you learned on your journey to black belts? And did it also change your perspective beyond martial arts in general? Was there a time like?
I don't think it's injuries. I think it's more learning about people and looking from a distance about the jiu-jitsu community as a whole and how they interact with each other, and then understanding about one of the big understandings I've actually had from jiu-jitsu and sports people in general, because just I've worked with sports people for 20 odd years, is the underlying effects of insecurity. And, I'm using insecurity in a broad term, but the effects that kind of like you being insecure about your training partners, yourself, your students, your coach, etc., and what effect that does have. And, people need to kind of like, I think the sports industry, jiu-jitsu in particular, would be a lot better and probably a lot more successful if those insecurities were dropped, worried about if you're a student going training somewhere else, or worried about, this other coach coming in on them, a black belt coming to your academy, worrying about that. It's like, who gives a crap? It doesn't matter. And I think from a coach's perspective, from my perspective, I've always held the ethos, the academies like Switzerland. So I don't care where you come from, you can come and train. I will show you, I ain't going to hold anything back from you. It's like, I can't take it to the grave with me. What's the point? It's like, literally, where's the point of me not showing you something? It's like, that's ridiculous. No. The whole ethos of what we do is to improve. In anything that we do is to improve. So I'll show you what I know, I'll ask you to show me what you know as well, because it's supposed to be a meeting of minds. And the meeting of minds means that I improve, you improve, students improve, everybody improves. And, that's supposed to be the whole thing. And I've seen like insecurities kind of like damage, stop people doing jiu-jitsu anymore and stuff like that, and damage gyms and, where, it's not cool. It's not nice, it's definitely not nice. You should be able to, just drop the arrogance, drop the ego, drop the insecurity, and be welcome. It doesn't mean that you don't go to a place and not have a really hard battle and a hard training time and someone who beat the crap out of you. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that, you're able to have that experience, because that one experience of going to another gym and it being good or bad will change your mind and how your training ethos should be. You might not get that at your gym, but you might just go, you'd be on holiday and go and travel to another gym. I love hearing like you guys, when you guys go travel and stuff like that, and he goes, oh, do you know, blah, 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 this gym, da. Oh, do you know anywhere we can train and stuff like that? And I go, oh, let me just get my phone and speak to some fighter or something. And I go, hey, I've got one of my students coming down, and you guys go and visit the gym, and it's really good. And you guys come back, yeah, it's really good experiences and stuff like that. And to hear you guys talk about that type of stuff is awesome, because it just means that I was right about that person in the first place and about that gym. They're really cool. They're absolutely cool. Yeah. And they treat you like family and stuff like that. And I think that's how it always should be. That's always should be. And I reciprocate as well. So when their students come over, come, let's go for lunch, take out dinner, look after you and stuff like that, because that's how it should be. And it doesn't diminish your jiu-jitsu. That's the whole thing. If anything, it improves your jiu-jitsu. It doesn't diminish it.
Yeah.
So there's no point in actually, being that way. There's no point in actually being, oh, no, you can't train there. Because inviting somebody in actually improves your jiu-jitsu. Going somewhere else actually improves your jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole, I think that's the point why we do it. So,
exactly.
We'll make it continue.
And you said it right, and you like open your mindset, and it may also change your perspective, how you learn, how you teach, blah blah. And I can definitely see where you come from. In the beginning of my jiu-jitsu journey, I also have similar experience. That one part was insecurity. Like, I was trained at 2 different martial arts gym, and I do have that kind of conflict, and I was afraid to let the other professor know. And in the end, the other professor know, like, there were conflicts, there were like weird feelings, that sort of stuff. And so I'm glad to raise this out, like as students, for us, we find it like, what do I do then? Like, from my point of view as a student, I just want to improve. Like, if I feel like I want to learn something else, like, why only limit to one place? So that's kind of insecurity for me. But I'm very glad to lay this out. And how do you think you can, is it apart from just raising out, how do you think you can change this culture? Or do you think it's still deeply rooted? Like,
I don't think it's deeply rooted. And the reason being is that I always say, like, money is the root of all evil. Okay. And I'm not saying that academies are greedy or instructors are greedy or anything like that. So I always say, like, money is the root to all evil. I'm not saying like academy coaches are greedy or gyms are greedy or whatever. It's not that. It's just that basically you have to hit a bottom line, So If you have to have 100 students and there 5 students go and train at another gym, then, that's, your money's depleted. So I totally understand it and I totally get it. And because I'm coming from a place where running a jiu-jitsu academy has never been a business for me. It literally never has been. I'm coming from a different place of hey, I'm a little bit more secure in how I can actually approach things, and I can experiment with things a little bit more different. If somebody I feel isn't right for the gym or right for the mat that comes to the academy, I can say, mate, no, this isn't the place for you. So because I don't, I can make that decision without kind of thinking, need to put the lights on. So I absolutely get it. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely get it and I totally understand it. But I think there may be a better way of approaching those issues within jiu-jitsu and within martial arts in general, not only jiu-jitsu. Actually, I say jiu-jitsu, but it's a martial art thing. There might be a different way of approaching those issues, from a kind of personal point of view, instead of kind of having this hard line attitude of no, boom, 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 etc. And I think it comes from a place of creating an atmosphere and a culture that somebody doesn't want to leave.
That's important.
Yeah, so somebody doesn't want to leave. You're creating a brand, so you've got to think of it like, I don't know, I've got I wear a Rolex, so I'm not going to switch to, Panerai, because I love Rolex, and Rolex look after me and they give me a call and they ask me how I'm doing and they ask me, does my watch need servicing, or, is there anything that we can do for you, or do you want to come into the store and try but Panerai don't do that. Of course, that's customer loyalty right there. So I think, if you think of running your academy, your business or whatever, your Thai boxing academy, jiu-jitsu academy, judo academy, the exact same way, then that's when I think you get brand loyalty. It's like, it's like I go to the guys like, hey, if you're competing for Inglorious Grapplers, wear Inglorious Grapplers gi and rash guard. Apart from that, wear what you want on the mat.
Yeah.
Literally wear what you want on the mat. Totally fine. Because I get it. Sport is expensive enough. We're in a cost of living crisis. It's like, dude, do what you want. Not really do what you want, but hey, I understand if you can't afford gear and stuff like that, but totally fine. My main thing is that you take and improve and get better and better and better at jiu-jitsu. Not really what you wear. As long as it's clean, it's not smelly.
Washed.
So yeah, watch properly. So the thing is that, so then I get, got geese in stock, get them in stock, boom, and they run out. It's like, okay, I'm not forcing everyone to buy geese, but hey, do appreciate the fact that you guys want to represent the brand and you guys want to represent them, because the brand is not me. It's all of you lot. It's actually the community and the culture and what we've actually built together. So yeah.
That's a good perspective to hear. Another thing I want to have your perspective is, like as time progressed, like people start to develop new and creative fancy techniques. I even came across the other day, some people ask AI, ChatGPT, to come up with new martial arts techniques. But some of the gyms still stick to traditional and more old school techniques. Like, I want to know your thoughts on this. And do you think, like as time progresses, some of the old school things are not completely useful for us anymore? And what's your take on this?
I think with jiu-jitsu, and the same with any sport, not even martial arts, just any sport, you have to have a base set of principles and techniques. Okay, you can't get away from it because we've got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. So the limbs is going to be one thing, attacking legs is going to be one thing, but then it's all the bits in between, the transitions and how you get to those points. And then you actually have the scoring systems, point scoring system from the different promotions. To get away from jiu-jitsu, I'll give you a prime example. Like, you got 2 promotions, UFC, and you got 1FC. Sorry, let me not use 1FC. Let me use PFL, an example. PFL never did elbows in MMA, where UFC Unified Rules did elbows. So then, in order for fighters to switch promotions, like a lot of Bellator fighters went to PFL and weren't able to use elbows, where actually part of them is this, their techniques is wrestle, bomb, take the person down, elbow, bomb, etc. And you take that facet out, then the actually technique has to change. So the rule sets play a pivotal role into the development of jiu-jitsu, and always will do, because you actually have to have a platform in order to test all the stuff. Like literally have to have a platform to test all the stuff. So it's an example of kind of like a developing thing is you might find like a white belt or blue belt does a footlock on somebody and rolls towards the knee, and then somebody goes, no, you can't do that in IBJJF, or you can't do that there, or because you're a white belt. When actually, from a jiu-jitsu perspective, actually you can, if he's not competing. But from a rule set perspective, from a safety aspect, nah, don't do it. So yeah, the rules and the safety and that, and how you develop stuff, has a massive, massive role on the development of jiu-jitsu. But you still need a base layer. You still need hey, this is what you need to do, guard side, blah, boom. You're going to need to pass these positions. If the person is in this way, you need to do X. You need to get to X, or you need to get to Y. So I don't think there is kind of like old school, new school. I think it's more if people are using old school as a term of instructors not improving or accepting, the growth of jiu-jitsu, because we're in I thought my era was a golden era of jiu-jitsu. Now this is the golden era of jiu-jitsu. So instructors think that they can't learn, or don't want to learn, or don't want to practice the what's coming out now, whatever, or the principles that are coming out now, then it's more for them, because you haven't grown. You're supposed to be growing as well with your students. Exactly. It's as simple as that. My benchmark is, if I can spar and keep the guys at my advanced stage, if I can keep at that level as long as I possibly can, and still do the things that they do, that's, for me, that's my personal benchmark. If I'm rolling with any of the guys, Viking or whatever, and having a hard roll and etc., and if I can still be challenging, still catch, still sweep them, still pass their guard, still do that type of stuff, still do the count, still counter the techniques that they do, which are very, very good at, step out, heel hooks, boom, or whatever. If I can still do that, I've got to keep doing that until I'm fragile and my body's in the dust. So, that's my benchmark. So, jiu-jitsu, just, I know I rambled on a bit, but it's, I just think, man, it's just awesome, man. It's like, it's really, really cool. I hate the bickering in jiu-jitsu, and I hate that like old school, new school stuff. It's just like, if people don't want to learn what these kids are doing now, and I hate using the term kids as well, but what's happening now, it's like more for them, man, because it's really cool. It's really good. It's really good. But also the younger generation should knock on the older generation for what they've been through as well, because they are, without them, then you just wouldn't have what you've got. So you also have to respect that aspect of it as well.
True.
So, yeah.
True. Well said. Ultimately, like you said, everyone just needs to continue evolving and learning, like, as long as you...
Yeah, drop your egos and the insecurities. Chill out.
Chill out, yes, that's more important. Enjoy your time, relax, and have fun. Have fun is the most important. So, Jude, if you could go back and give advice to yourself as a white belt, and then both in jiu-jitsu and in life, what would you say? And that's my last question.
In jiu-jitsu, as a white belt, it's a bit of a hard one, actually, because I'd probably run more. Probably run more. Yeah, probably run more. So the problem that I had as a white belt, white, blue, and purple, was that there wasn't that many jiu-jitsu academies at that time. There were no electric cars on the road, by the way, just so you know. No, there wasn't that many jiu-jitsu academies at the time. Actually, we used to cross-train a lot. So on Sundays, the guys from who now London Shoot, used to be Maris and a few other guys used to pop up. We used to meet in Victoria Sports Centre down in Victoria, SW1. So, because there wasn't as much training around as there is now, we always used to meet up and cross train, unbeknownst to all us instructors and stuff like that, because we wanted more. Everybody wanted more. Everybody wanted to improve. Everybody wanted to get better. And as you see, it just bred like a really, really good core bunch of guys that are still in the sport today, are literally still in the sport today. No matter what's said, it's those guys have created a base, from not only London Shoot, but a few other gyms as well, where guys have just come out of that, Sunday session or a few other sessions, or wrestling down in Club Kensington, who are actually just running some really, really good academies and produce some really, really good students, forward-thinking students as well. Guys who are just like, and their students as well, just absolutely legit at the present moment in time. So, yeah, you can't get away from the aspect that, sharpens iron. Yeah, it's absolutely just spot on, absolutely. I hate that term though. You need to find a better one. You need to find a better one. Because it's so masculine, and you think of think of Conan the Barbarian and but it is true. It absolutely is true. And just having that open mindset is absolutely true. You look at the gyms today, like Los Banditos and all that. Ross Nichols' gym, etc. They're born out the same principles, the same ethos. Guys, hey, we need to get together and train. We've got a competition coming up. Blah blah blah. You're from that gym. You're from that gym. You're from that gym. Let's get together. But the funny thing is sometimes it's like you still get you got training, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, get over it, man. Get over it.
Just go training.
Just go train.
You do training, enjoy time, evolve, and learn to grow. That's the biggest takeaway we have from Jude today. Thank you so much, Jude.
No problem.
By the way, how can our listeners reach out to you? And you mentioned you're doing videography projects and stuff. Are you working towards anything big coming year? Like, we're still early in 2025. Are you working on towards big? How can we connect with you?
Well, actually, inglorioussgrapplers.com. That's the place to go. And we're based in Moorgate, in the city, an 8 members club and stuff like that. And I don't want to just brag, but actually it is the best jiu-jitsu academy on the globe. There's no jiu-jitsu academy that's inside a members club that has a restaurant, has a co-working space, has a cafe, full kitted out gym. There's no jiu-jitsu academy in the world like that, and I wish there were more, by the way. I literally do, because it's, I think if jiu-jitsu got to that level a little bit more, the gyms are getting better and stuff like that. And it is a costing. I totally get it, man. It's a costing. But if jiu-jitsu got to that level a little bit more, where you have, businesses and stuff like that took on, academies a little bit more and saw the benefit of it. Coaches need to probably approach other businesses. I'm giving away the playbook here. Shouldn't. But coaches, you guys need to approach, look at jiu-jitsu in a different way. You know what I mean? And approach businesses and stuff like that who have space. They've got space, and you can offer the space to their members and just create new ideas and new concepts and change how jiu-jitsu, people talk about jiu-jitsu going mainstream. Jiu-jitsu can't go mainstream if it's in a shed in the middle of an industrial estate all the time. It needs to change, absolutely needs to change. And it's not in a shed out of, you want it to be there. You'd prefer to have those same mat spaces and that same gritty environment, but with somewhere that is nice, somewhere that you can go down and, it's got showers and steam room and sauna and stuff like that. And you go there and you collect your towel and blah, blah, blah. And it's, you got your own locker space and stuff like that. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu needs to get to that point a little bit more. And yeah, I think it's possible. And I pray and wish that, all these other academies out there do the exact same thing, and try to elevate what it is a little bit more, and it will benefit everyone. It may not benefit us in our lifetime, but it's going to benefit, the kids that are 9, 10, 11, 12 growing up now, because they're going to be the leaders going forward. So yeah.
I love this perspective. And, like you said, if all collaborates, have a different perspective of seeing things in the business. I love it, Jude. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Thank you so much.